Welcome to Share.care, an all-inclusive community sharing experience, strength, and hope to create strong, healthy, and inspiring relationships. Share.care communities work toward every individual feeling safe, valued, and heard, free from the threat of danger, pain, or harm. Each episode, founder Damian Andrews explores the principles underpinning Share.care and invites expert special guests to share their knowledge so you can easily reap the benefits so many others experience. You hold the choice to create your future. Let it be with strong, healthy, and inspiring relationships.
Hello and welcome to an On the Couch episode of the Share.care podcast. Our belief is that global peace starts at home. Feeling safe, valued, and heard gives you a foundation to confidently step out and make the world a happier and safer place for everyone. Because in today's world, it's in your own selfish best interest to help others. So, does giving really make a difference? A really famous, well, maybe not so famous, but a person really dear to me, my mum, said to me a long time ago. She said, "Don't do it because you expect something in return. Do it because you want to." That was a philosophy that I have grown up with, is to help others, not because you're expecting something something back in return, not because there's some sort of karma situation associated with that, but just because you want to. And when I think about my history and my life and the things that have happened, there's some things that have happened that haven't been so great, but there's been a lot of things that have happened that have been pretty good as well. It's kind of reasonably balanced, I would say. But when I think about, when I was a kid, I always wanted to help out. I mean, we grew up helping out. With my dad I think he was a treasurer of the local clubs, and he was always bringing home cash to count from after the clubs, and we'd all sit around the table as a family and we'd count it all up and make sure it was all there. So that in that way, that's was giving as well as a foundation of helping out. My dad it wasn't a paid gig or anything like that. He was just helping out. There were benefits to that as well, like when we had the Christmas party, they'd organise the Christmas function for the kids, and they'd have Santa come, and Santa would give out the lolly bags. Well, of course, we were as a family charged with handing out those, putting together those lolly bags. And so every year, Dad would bring in all these big boxes of lollies. You had your musk sticks and the teeth and your strawberries and cream, all those kind of things. And we'd put them all together in bags, making sure they're all the same. Couldn't have one kid getting more lollies than the other from Santa. And but there was always some left over, the odd amounts left over, and we got to snack on those. So there were benefits of that giving. But I think it goes deeper than that. I remember, I joined. I wanted to leave school, and my dad wouldn't let me leave school unless I had a job. And then shortly after that, army recruitment people come around to the school, and I'm like, oh, cool, this is great. I'll sign up and get out of here. And when I was, so I did my time, and I ended up being posted over in Perth. And when I left the army, I stayed in Perth. And I did a number of different things, but there was a time there where I didn't have much money, and partly because one of the things I did, which is pretty stupid, and I would highly recommend anybody that has a vehicle get insurance. I didn't have insurance, and I was driving along the road. This is while I was in the army. I was driving along the road in Perth, along the coast road, and some cars that stopped in front of me. I wasn't paying attention. I don't even know what I was doing. All these things, an accident happens because you just don't know or you're not paying attention, or if you could see it happening, you would prevent it. So I've careened into a car that stopped on the side, stopped in the middle of the road. What had happened was that was one of 4 cars that had stopped for a car that was turning right. In Australia, we're on the other side of the road to most of the world. So this car was turning across traffic and stopped. I was in the middle lane and drove straight into the back of this car, which caused a concertina effect where I totaled uh, 4 cars. One of them was brand new; it was a week old, had come in, and I caused $60,000 worth of damage, which that was over 30 years ago now, and that's quite a substantial amount of money that I was being chased for because I wasn't insured, and so that carried forward after I'd left the army. I did a few other things. I still hadn't got my finances sorted out, and there was a period that I wasn't employed. I was walking through the Perth Mall, and I don't remember where I was going. I was going somewhere, and as I was walking through, an Aboriginal man came up to me and asked me, "Did I have any change?" And honestly, I didn't have any change. All I had was I had a $20 note in my pocket. I'm not sure why. Um, so I couldn't give him any change, and all I had was a $20 note. But I'm not sure why. For whatever reason, I decided to give him that money. I said I didn't have a job. That was all I had. I had no money in my bank account. I pulled it out and I just handed it to him. And he's kind of he's looked stunned at first. He's like he took it off me and he was inspecting it to see if it was real, I think. And then he's looked at it and he's like, I could see his eyes, like his eyes and his face just lit up. And he had this, and then he started dancing, like dancing in front of me, and then he ran off. He's dancing in there. He's dancing off he jumped on top of a bin and started dancing off that, and then he went around and there was a lady, which I'm assuming now was his girlfriend or wife or whoever. She was sitting on the seat, and he's dancing in front of her, waving this money in front of her, and I just stood there forever, just watching this guy, and it was it's hard to describe that feeling. Like it was like I had no money and I was feeling sorry for myself and I was feeling really crap about myself. Not not really liking who I was, not really liking my situation. And then I'm watching this guy just dance around in joy because of what I've done, because I gave him that money. And And so that was over 30 years ago now. And I still, when I talk about it, I still feel that inside as like, I did a good thing there. I did a really good thing, even though, and probably more so because I wasn't in a position to do that. I didn't have any money. I didn't have any money in the bank account. That was the only $20 I had. Um, and, and I don't know whether it was because of, um, that I did do a good deed or not. I don't know if that's exactly how it works. I think there is something in that, but I know the next day I got a phone call about a job, and I went, and they needed me to come in straight away for the interview, and I did the interview, and as I think about it, I go, well, I felt really good about myself. So did I perform better in the interview because of how I felt about myself? And this is where we're talking about it's in your own selfish best interest to help others. I mean, I felt good about myself because I'd helped this other person. Um, and I got the job. And in that for that period of my life, it turned around where I was financially and sorted a lot of things out in that regard. Um, and other circumstances like that where just helping others, not because I felt I had to or because I wanted something back, but just because I wanted to. There was, in my time off, I remember. I can't remember if I was in the army or not, but it was in Perth. I used to help out. It was a mission or a church. I can't remember specifically what it was, but they would run these things to help people in less in less fortunate situations, and they organised this massive lunch in one of the parks. So that we had this huge tent, and we had to set it up, and they were organising, for people to come and have, get food and get fed and that kind of thing, that were homeless or in need. And I was helping out with that, and doing a number of things, sorting it out. And the head person that was organising this uh, situation, we needed, I can't remember what it was, we needed something that was missing, and it had to go and get it. And he just, without thinking about it, well, it seemed to be without thinking, just quite blase is probably not the right word, but it was just, he turned to me, went into his pocket, pulled out car keys and said, "Here, take my car, go and get the stuff." Now, I'd never met this person before that day. Wasn't a friend. Wasn't, isn't it? We'd never met each other beforehand. But he just turned to me, gave me his car keys to some complete stranger. I could have just taken the car and taken off. I was just astounded, going, "Oh my God, look at this! I'm helping here, and this guy trusts me enough to give me his key." As it turned out to be a brand new car, not the one that got crashed into from the other story, but it was just like, I was flabbergasted. I was like, "Wow, cool!" I went and got the stuff and brought it back and gave him his keys back. Um, and I thought about that, I think about that going, well, here I was helping out a situation, and I got to drive this really cool car, which, at that age, instead I was young, that was really cool. And I think I've always done that as well. Like when I've been part of, organizations and clubs, I've always wanted to help out. Like I've gone to the committee meetings when I was a kid and used to race radio control cars. Uh, and I'd go to the committee meetings and see if I could help out. Uh, there was another time, I can tell this story now because my mum knows. I used to borrow her car and say I was going to visit friends, and I'd take it to the local. She had a Volkswagen Beetle, which you would probably know from other podcasts. Oh, this was a different one actually. The one from the she had a blue one that I would borrow and go to visit friends. But and there was a couple of times I took it to the hill climb track and raced it and drove around the track. But I was part of the committee there, even though I didn't have a race car or anything, including my mum's Volkswagen. And but I would help out and find ways of doing things, adding a little bit more. Like they had an event coming up, and I designed a poster. And back then it was some fairly rudimentary stuff on a computer. Um, and I found someone who had it. I didn't have a printer, but I found someone else who had a printer, and we got those printed up, and just helping out with that. And I did that. Of all the clubs that I've been part of, always tried to contribute in some way and help out. And later on in life, I was when I raced go-karts and got back into radio control car racing. I would, I put together a magazine for that, literally a well, it looked like a magazine, and I made it look like a magazine. I looked at magazines, how they were designed, and then I used the Mac program I was using, just Pages, and I designed it and made it look pretty cool. And then I'd just do the same, look for some bit of research and put some things in that, and have this magazine that got sent out to the club members. But I do, and again, I remember like from that, and I wasn't doing it for this reason, but people would always come up to me and go, "Oh wow, that magazine was really cool," and I really appreciate you doing that, and it was really informative, and that was really helpful, and get all these comments from that. And so I wasn't doing it to get the comments. I wasn't doing it to get thanks. I was doing it because I wanted to help out, and but it made me feel really good when I did get those comments, those thank yous, and we really appreciate that, and how yeah, that's been really helpful to me, and it was exciting to read, and it was a lot of fun to read. Those kind of things. It made me feel good. It made me feel good inside. It made me smile, made me happy to receive that. And did it take a lot of time? probably the first couple of, were a bit difficult, but then it was a repetitive thing where it didn't take a lot of time out of my day to put together to a monthly magazine. It probably took me a couple of hours in a month, which wasn't much, but the feeling, and so I can still feel that inside now, the thank yous and that kind of thing that I got. Um, Later, when at my stepdaughter's school, we were at a charity auction, and we certainly would nowhere near anyway where the financial uh, didn't have the financial net worth of a lot of the parents at that school. It was a very exclusive school, and but wanted to help out and help raise some funds, and there was a trophy. It was a number of trophies being auctioned off. It was a perpetual trophy, and there was one where it's like I bid on, and it was like for the Moguls Championship. And now at the school there is the perpetual. It's the Andrews Moguls Championship trophy, which is, well, perpetual. I guess it goes on forever. And it's nice to think about. Okay, well, yeah, I helped out those people, and there's that there as well. And there was another time I remember, and I wasn't in a great financial situation. Went to another charity auction. This wasn't related to the school. It was, I can't remember what it was. It was for some organisation. I got invited to it, and thought I'd go along, and I was there, and I didn't really. It was in a down financial situation from my perspective, but I thought, oh well, go and help out if I can help out. But for some reason, when I was there, the same sort of thing. There was like I can't remember what it was. There was something, a couple of things that I bid on, and I bid. I mean, it was thousands of dollars that I spent, and I remember bidding, going, I shouldn't be doing this. I really shouldn't be doing it. I don't have the money to do this. I mean, I had the money in my bank account, but it was like I need that money for for life. Um, and but I did it anyway, and it was interesting afterwards. I had people come up to me from the organisation and said, "Look, this is probably one of the most um, profitable, profitable is not right, but the highest fundraising events that we've had, and you're the highest bidder that we've ever had on these kind of things, and what you've done is really helped a lot of people because we've raised so much money." And there was two things come out of that one. Again, feeling really good about what I'd done. It was a really wonderful feeling to have people say, we really appreciate what you've done, that you've helped out. But the other thing was it really reminded me of the importance finances play to be financially secure yourself so you can help others. I mean, it's nice, and we all have to work to what financial situation we're in, but to be able to step up and do a little bit more. And that's really driven me from a financial perspective to be able to be in those positions to help other people as much as I can, to make my financial situation such a position where I can help others and do the things that I can do, hence like doing this the podcast and the Share.care organization. Having the ability, the time to do it, because I've got that flexibility, and also having the resources to be able to do it. Finances, that was one of the times where it really stood out to me how important getting your own finances sorted out so that you can help others, so you have the time to help others, so you have the resources to help others. And it doesn't really take much to give as well. It doesn't have to be big things. I think about it, and it's like I make sure when I'm driving, when someone lets me in, or even they might not let me in, even if I barge in sometimes. That has happened. I'll always make sure I wave. Just say, "Oh, thank you," and you just wave in the mirror, or if something happens or whatever, just give that acknowledgement. It's interesting because you know it's not so much that I don't even half the time know if they've seen it. But the fact that I've done it, I feel it inside and gone, yep, thank you, I appreciate that. I feel good about that, that I've given that. And I think that's really where this giving is. What is, does it really make a difference? The giving is not, it's nice to get those accolades, and I, I've got a lot, and I really, really appreciate it. It's made me feel amazing. But same token too, I said when I'm driving and I'll let someone in and I will just wave and say, yep, thank you. Or if I've cut someone off accidentally and they yell at me, I'll just wave and say, look, apologize, sorry, it was an accident. And not really talking to anyone because I'm in my car. But, just that, it makes a difference. It makes a difference to you. And that's why we talk about it's in your own selfish best interest to help others, because it makes a difference to you. It makes a difference inside you. And it's like I said, I mentioned before about the share.care and it's the podcast and the website, the social media hub. I've put in, I've lost track of how much time I've put into doing that, of my own time, where I could have been watching Seinfeld or whatever it is to watch, but instead of doing that, I've been working and putting the share.care organization together. I look at that, and whenever I see that, it's like it makes me feel good. Whenever I see a podcast out there, whenever I see the website come up. I mean, I have the website. This is the thing I have on my favorites, the favorites bar on my Explorer on my computer. You've got your Internet Explorer or Safari, whatever it is you use. Up there is the share.care website, and every time I see that, I feel good. It makes me feel better, because I know that I'm giving back, that I'm helping other people. So yeah, that's when we think about, does giving really make a difference? It makes a difference not only to the people that you're giving to, it makes a huge difference to yourself.
Thank you for being part of the Share.care community and helping people around the world prosper. You're creating a bigger pie for everyone to share. The more people contributing to the world being a better place, the better the world becomes, for others and for you.